Hey, guess what? We're live.
Hey, guess what? It's just the Sky Kid. It's Thursday night. It's the interview portion of the show. Previous to this, if you go back and check the first video, you can watch the live performance of Murder Generation.
Hey, that's us.
That's these guys. We're going to start with introductions on what you do in the band. Who wants to start? Not all at once.
I'm just trying to share your thing. Okay, I'll start. I am Trisha Peterson. I play bass. I assist in writing, and I sing. That's about it, right? I mean, like, we're, you know.
Yeah. I mean,
my story starts back in October. Rich Altenbach, I play guitar and do vocals and quite a bit of writing as well.
Tom, I play drums, but I'm not a drummer.
Okay. You said this a few times. Then what are you?
A guitar, more guitarist bass.
So then how do you come to play drums for
Because
these guys?
drums are so lacking in Milwaukee. Everyone's looking for drummers.
Why is the drummer the main thing people have to find?
Because you have the place to play.
Have you played in a punk band without drums? I mean, it's kind of hard.
We did that for a couple months. It was not fun.
Well, you know, and then they rotate throughout bands. I mean, they're so limited. It's like, I mean, it's just, holy cow.
Yeah, are there any drummers who are in like one band? Probably not.
Yeah, every drummer in the city of Milwaukee is like not even just in one band. They're like in multiple bands, or they swap bands, or it's like the same pool. So kids need to start playing drums in Milwaukee. That's what happens. While they're all held in their like
Learn a new
quarantine.
instrument.
Their parents were stuck at home.
Play
with
the fucking
love
drums.
that. Start banging on them.
Drumming on the street light. No. No, that's a Doug reference. So, how about history of this group? I know that you guys have a bunch to talk about with us tonight because you have a whole bunch of new things. But let's start with the history of this group. How did you form? When did you form? How long have you been a thing? 1, 2, 3. That's my limit.
Let's see.
She always has 3-part
Well,
questions.
Rich and I actually went to high school together. We were like acquaintances, and we knew each other for a long time. And we reconnected a couple years back at a weird high school in the park gathering, and we just like started talking about music. And I think I had just left my previous band at that time, and I was like, I'm looking to do something else, and he was looking to start something new. And it took a little bit for it to get to fruition because like we both have very similar tastes in music, like in stuff that we want to do. And we kind of like were like, oh, do we want to do an industrial thing or a punk thing? And then there was a weird period, and then 6 months later it was kind of like, you know what, fuck it, we should just do a fucking punk band and like make it like that old school, like whatever, punk aggressive. It's like what the world needs now and all that kind of stuff. So then we just started writing, and we were trying to find a drummer forever. And I actually asked Tom, like it was like a year to the day that, like I asked him, and then like a year later, I asked him again. He was like, yeah, I just quit the band that I'm in, so I'm down. And then we already had songs, and we were like, everything at that point came really fast. So that was like, and so that was like 2018 when Tom came on board, and then we had all the stuff written, and then we released our album. In August of 2019 is when it was officially official.
Yeah, my purposes behind that, it's not to get too heavy right now, but I was in a band before Trisha and I reconnected, and we were 3 of us, and we had a couple songs together, and then our primary songwriter, guitar player, one of the primary vocalists, went and kind of checked out of the world. So
yeah,
he died, and the stuff we were doing was very kind of Yola Tango-y. I don't know, it was his project, and not to belittle it, we did some good stuff, but it was kind of like a passive male energy. It was just weird, and I think what really triggered it was on Facebook, because I was still on there at that point before I left it and came back.
Oh yeah.
I wrote a message just saying, like, we need to get some fucking ovaries in music. Where's the aggressive female energy? We need it right now. And bing, she popped up right away. I'm like, all right, perfect, we're fucking doing this.
Hello.
And after a long, like that weird period, there was a hiatus where we weren't really sure what the hell we wanted to do. And then it just kind of hit me like a ton of bricks over the head. Like, we need to start a punk band. We need to do it like yesterday. Let's get together, write as much as we fucking can. We need to get this thing going right now. The world needs it. Holy shit. Like, it was a very
Call to action.
frenetic, panicked, like this needs to happen. It needs to happen fast.
You didn't know how relevant all of your stuff would be. Huh?
It's actually it's just super eerie.
Yeah, tonight it's getting to me.
Yeah,
I'm singing certain words like
it
this
feels
one too.
it feels pretty dark at this point.
We're
So
not happy pop songs, that's for sure. We're not writing about bad relationships and
getting drunk and smoking weed and
One
Give
weed
it 3
reference.
weeks.
maybe we should. Maybe we should.
One weed reference, but it's ironic.
It's an ironic weed reference.
Yeah, kind of.
So then, okay, when they asked you
it's
to
iconic.
join this group, did you know how to play drums, or was this here's a drum kit, we have space, learn?
I've been in bands for a long time, and there's another band that needed a drummer, and I'm like, well, if you guys give me a chance, I'll drum for you guys, but I don't know anything. So they did, and they gave me a chance, and I played with them for a couple of years. And then I was in some other bands after that, and then they asked me, and I'm like, yeah. So I had a band that gave me a chance.
Okay.
So I got through a lot of my beginning things through that. And then I'm like, you guys, I'm not that good. So,
See, you're the only one who thinks that. I mean, even like Paul, when we recorded our record, he was just like kind of in shock by your playing because at that point, the kit you were playing, you had one cymbal.
yeah.
And he was like, he's doing like, it sounds like he's got 4 cymbals, doing all these different attacks on it. So the fact that you weren't like trained as a drummer, I guess, like you had to improvise some shit, and like where your ear for music comes from, you know what sounds right.
Aww.
So like, you fall into that really, really well.
I've been playing since I was like 9, but I can play like harmonica, keyboards, piano, drums, bass guitar, saxophone, clarinet. And, like I know music, so.
I just know things.
And he likes punk. He's always like
Yeah.
he's in perpetually in punk bands, and that's actually how I met Tom. Like I met him going
It
to
wasn't
see.
a punk band. That was my
No,
polka band.
he was in a
You were in a
polka
polka band.
He was in like a one man with a bass player band called Metalomica and
Melatomica.
and like he played the harmonica and he looped stuff. and he did
Yeah,
all
I
this-
beatboxed and looped.
Yeah.
And then I played a harmonica through guitar pedals, which the harmonica gave like an accordion type sound.
This sounds cool.
Yeah, it was really cool. I call it anti-polka, but
That's really
anti-polka.
So
It was
we're really
fun.
fortunate to have to slum it with us, you know.
Slum it with you. Okay, so you've been playing forever, and you come from a background with a multitude of instrumentation.
yeah.
How about you folks? Like, how long
Oh,
have you been playing?
I was classically trained since I was like 4 years old. I started like the violin, I didn't like it, and then I started playing the flute when I was like 5. And then I played that throughout the duration, like I had a scholarship to college and all that kind of stuff, and like, but I also like learned how to play like every single woodwind instrument because that's what I did when I was a kid. I got bored and learned instruments, and it just all came naturally. And then like I started playing the piano. So like early on, I was in like gothic metal bands or like a new wave band, and like because that's what keyboard players do. And then I really like after I got divorced in 2010, I was like, I want to be in a punk band. I'm gonna go buy a bass and learn how to play bass. And I was in another punk band in Milwaukee for a while, and then I just kept doing it because like I just always wanted to be in a punk band. So I'm older and wiser, and I have money to buy instruments. So
Wonderful. And you, how long have you been playing?
Most of my life. I have about 30 years now playing guitar, which is
that's a long time.
mind-boggling, kind of hurts my head. But I also played keyboard, flute, saxophone.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that. Huh.
Accordion. My dad was really into that.
I'm bringing my accordion over. I have one.
Nice. I dabble in the sitar. But no, I've been playing in bands off and on since I was about 14.
That's awesome. So with that being said, and all of you coming from a diverse background, it sounds like, with multiple band things going on, is Merger Generation for you guys right now your sole project, or are you in other things?
Not him, but us. But it's not drums. It's not drums.
The Murder Generation, I play drums, and then I play bass and resistor transistor.
Okay.
Kind of like a Joan Jett sound to us. Stephanie is our singer. We don't do many shows, a couple a year. if that. And then I got my other band, TPPT, me and my buddy Paul. Our initial is TPPT, and that one I sing and play guitar.
Okay.
And he plays drums, so I got 3 bands. And then I have keyboards at home, and I've been working on an industrial goth band. So then I do some acoustic stuff once in a while.
So how easy is it to continue to book out and play shows?
Well, he only can play really on Saturdays.
Well, right now it's wide open.
Yeah, but typically it's Saturdays. My
Yes.
other
As
band
of
can
today,
only-
he can play whenever, but you can't play wherever.
Yeah, my other band can only do
Fun.
Thursdays and Fridays, so that's Saturdays. Another band Thursdays and Fridays, and Resistor, we don't play very much.
I could play every day of the week, but maybe I should start a new band.
Damn!
I'm just getting knocked down over here, man. Holy
But do
cow.
you get back up again?
No.
Oh!
Quit that
I'm
tough thumping.
sorry, I had to.
Quit
That
your
was like a dad joke.
Quit your
I
tough
know.
thumping there, Chumbawamba.
I don't even have my shit kickers on, my New Balance to cut my grass. I'm making all sorts of jokes over here today. My
What is
God.
that, a liquor drink?
It's definitely not a whiskey drink.
Yes,
Those
indeed.
were Tuesday night.
It's closer to a cider
Very
drink.
good.
Oh,
Mm.
if we're just
Indeed.
going to say things.
But they only sang songs that.
Remind
They-
me of the good times.
No, I don't
No.
think their songs
Just-
remind us of the good times or the better times.
Yeah.
No, I think they remind us of the relevant times. That being said, where does your kind of muse come from? How do you write your lyrics?
Oh.
What's the background for it?
Wow. Yeah.
I'm relevant.
Duh.
Yeah, that's really what started this like fire in me to get this project up and running, was my need to write.
Okay.
We're living in a time period that is so uncharted and so bizarre. Things are changing so fast. There's so many outlets for people to express things that there's like this huge like signal to noise ratio problem. Like everyone's bombarded with so much and can't have time to process any of it. And I find that incredibly frustrating as someone who likes to like sit and contemplate. So if I can't just say something and have somebody read it in the world, because I'm not a novelist,
You're gonna yell
I
at people.
have to just get on a stage and have people pay me to yell it at them.
Okay.
Like it seems one of the only avenues that are left is.
When are you getting paid?
Actually, yeah,
You didn't know you guys got paid every show? No.
every pipe dream. But yeah, so that's really what kind of triggered it was what's going on in the world right now that I'm finding a lot of frustration with or have to work through. I raise a lot of questions without giving a lot of answers. But I think it's just a matter of asking those questions and getting people thinking about them. Which, I mean, granted, most stages you're not going to hear the words I'm saying. I'm not the most, I don't like over enunciate every word. We play at quarters often, their sound system is like, people aren't really going to hear it. So, like, that's, that's like on our website, we posted, like, all of our lyrics. Because we're very lyric driven and, like, I want to make sure people have a clue of what we're saying.
They can sit down,
'cause-
read, and contemplate.
Exactly.
And and it was interesting in the beginning. It was a lot of we focused a lot on the lyrics. Like Rich is pretty much the idea person, but there were quite a few times that we would just like go out and like just have conversations or like text each other like. I think Blackout was fun on that, where, like, I, like, texted Rich, I was like, how long do you think it would take for people to turn into zombies if all of their social media was shut up?
Yeah.
And he was like, 30 seconds, and, like, the conversation kept going, and then it, like, turned into that particular song, where it's like,
Yeah.
what are you gonna do when you're not, like, some Instagram celebrity, or, like, when your social media is taken away, and you can't connect with the world behind your screens and all that sort of thing, so...
We'll go back to the, like, 80s.
Apparently that song might become more relevant than
Right.
we want it to.
Well, it's one of those things where, like, people kind of forget that when you're in front of somebody, talking to somebody face to face, there's a human connection, there's body language, there's so many ways we communicate beyond just, like, putting a pretty face on it, or, like, putting your best foot forward. Like, it's raw and it's real, and people are kind of losing the ability to read that properly. And some people even get overwhelmed by it. It's a very strange thing. So as soon as we lose this, like, weird distanced form of communication, when it's immediate and you're confronted with that, like, I don't know how people are going to actually react.
Which is the
to
case
that.
now. I mean, it's a scary time because it's like now we're required, I guess, to be so distant from each other that is like the only outlet that people have unless, you know, they're people that are super close. So it's kind of like, it's just, you know, it's like at what point does that get shut down where they're just like, you know.
Let's bring back the phone call, people. Can we do that? Is that right?
Right?
Can we call each other again? and
Hey,
Talk?
we don't call each other.
Landlines.
It's
You
not
called me today.
Today.
Liar.
I did. First time ever.
I have to say that we're also living in a very interesting tipping point because we grew up as a mixed technology genre or generation, meaning that we initially played, we engaged with each other. It wasn't till the 80s, 90s push where there was screens and internet and the AOL dial-up became a thing, and you were able to in the early 2000s have MySpace, and then these platforms started to form as a way of like more social connection. And it's like we went from playing with each other to separating and sitting on a phone, tablet, etc. So much so that
And
when you go out to a show, yes, we rely heavily on our phones. But if you see me at a show, I'm not on my phone. I'm talking to a person because I find it extremely rude to ignore I feel like it's ignoring someone. I don't care if I'm talking to you over there. If you're trying to talk to me, I should be engaging in a certain way. However, with us having now reproduced and created another generation of kids, that's all
You
they know.
reproduced.
I didn't. It was.
Don't bring me
It
into
was
this.
the royal we. The royal we. Yes, I did.
I get it.
One would reproduce. Yes.
So the 80s, 90s babies had babies, and that's another generation of kids that, yes, this right now, this weird sort of social climate we're in, if we all of a sudden lose the ability to be able to use a computer, everyone will lose their goddamn mind because we don't know how to go play. We don't have that experience, and that's why it is so crucial and important that we continue to have art and that we have the ability to write, because music itself is not just the actual art of music. It's contemplation. It's the lyrical content, which is poetry, which is thought-provoking, which then sparks other conversation, and creativity creates creativity. When people hear what it is you're doing, we had a very positive response. Fuck yeah, punk rock, this and that. Don't just say that, like, have action. I've always been a call to action human being, so yes.
Holy hell, he says that all the time.
It's a call to action. You have to do those things because we hide, like you said, very much behind I like. Did you actually go tell that person you like them? Or are you too scared to do that? Have we gotten to the point where it's just more, it's like a cleanse. Like, it's so easy to just say I like you on the internet and be this little fake thing. And
See, but there's also the opposite of that, where people are going around and telling people they hate them for no apparent reason,
Right.
because of whatever nonsense.
Because it's
is
easy
out
to
there.
hide.
It's
It's very easy
and
to
that
hide.
that's
It wasn't easy to
that's
hide in
a
the
bigger
80s.
problem,
Your
I
bully
think.
had to really hate you to continue to fight you every day at school. There was thought put into that
Exactly.
bullying.
Well, like
Yeah.
the song I always kind of, in my way, always introduce as this is a song about kids. It's called Blood on the Walls. It's kind of about that. That's why today I even preface it by saying,
You know how many
also known
babies
as
it takes to
one
paint a wall?
bloody nose is better than 100 dead kids. It's like
Maybe.
there's no like face-to-face confrontation with anyone, and it's all through screens. It's all distanced. So like this, if you're getting like being bullied online, for example, like you're getting so overwhelmed with it, but there's still that disconnect. So there's no outlet to deal with it.
Right.
You're not confronting a person face-to-face. You're not going through any of that, and it builds, and then people just eventually just fucking snap. So it seems, and that's an issue. And like these, like they need to not like send expel kids for getting into a fist fight in the hallway. Like
No,
they need an outlet for that. I'm not saying it's good that kids are punching each other, but like that beats the fucking alternative. And like when
Right,
we
you're
say,
just more socially isolating.
we need
Yeah.
to like we
We need more
exacerbating
human
the problem.
connection. We need to go way back when we actually cared about each other. And maybe this current situation that we're in, even though it's all stay home, don't go places, maybe this will actually force a different paradigm. Our household, are considered weirdos because our kids have very limited screen time. We read a lot of books. We do things as a family. We engage other people. And that is a very bizarre concept.
Oh, you do that?
I know!
They seem super well adjusted. We met them, so
I know.
you know
Our
they're
coworkers
great
think
kids.
my coworkers
That's
think
not
I'm
all of
nuts.
them, though.
I
There's more.
know. There's more.
But wait.
Don't go in the attic.
The stairs.
This room, that room.
But really, like, we sometimes get chastised for the weirdness that is our family. We go out of our way to hold social gatherings quite regularly.
Oh my God, really?
We accept everybody into our home. The one thing, and my kids will warn other kids when we go out, she'll mom you. I do mom them. I mom other human beings out in public because there isn't that correctiveness that we kind of need to have. There isn't a right or wrong way. There really is.
Right.
My dad told me this last night. He's like, when I was growing up, my parents always said, wash your hands before and after you eat. Don't touch your face out in public. Cover your cough, blow your nose, do things in the bathroom, clean up after yourself. These things made us well. And I feel like we've gotten so far away from that because no one wants to say, hey, you're doing it wrong. This is how you have to do it because you've now offended someone. It's okay to be offended. Be fucking offended because it'll do two things. It'll either keep you in your same paradigm or it'll make you think enough to want to be a different human. We all should have that drive to be different.
Yep. The best conversations I've ever had have been with people that I vehemently disagree with on something, and we'll get into very long conversations about ideas, and it makes me question all of my values.
It should.
And that deepens my understanding of my own point of view.
Mm-hmm.
And the more points of view you can hold in your head, the more of a complex human being you are, the more you bring that into the world. And you shouldn't be afraid of things that are against your knee-jerk reaction. Like, your brain needs stimulus. I mean, it needs to
It's
process
fucking
these
mess
things.
because and that's the other thing. I mean, it's like, I know I'm on social media a lot. I mean, convenient, whatever. But it's like, I'm not like, oh well, I disagree with this person's beliefs, I'm gonna like unfriend them. So then I just have this like constant like echo chamber of the same thing over and over and over. Like, no, I want to see it. Unless you're like aggressive and mean or like a troll or like whatever, I'm gonna sit there and I'm gonna look at it. And then some people go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, and that's a lot of entertainment when like people are actually
You can have your popcorn at home and see all of this.
It's not good to just like get on the train and just be like have tunnel vision and just be like, this is what I think, and you can't stop me from thinking that way. And it's dangerous to be like that.
It is.
In all aspects.
I agree 100%.
I know. I'd give you a high five, but we can't do that anymore.
Hello.
But
Hello.
for the record, she gives the best high fives ever.
I also give the best hugs.
Oh,
Do you
I'm not
know?
a hugger.
I know, that's okay. You did hug me at Punk Fest.
I
though.
did.
And you said I gave the best hug.
Yeah, that was that was a rough weekend.
I know. I remember. That's why I hugged you.
Yeah.
That's how.
I needed a hug that day.
That's what precipitated said hug.
Yeah.
But that's another one of our platforms, or one of the platforms I've coasted on since I was in high school. I had a friend, and we would always hug each other, and we started getting picked on for being lesbians, and I was like, fuck you, real hugs equal world peace. So my friends, once this epidemic is finished, go give a hug. Because, honest to God, we feel as if we are above all the other animals. All the other animals that exist on this planet have physical touch for a fucking reason. And it is essential and crucial to our development on so many different physical, biological, and spiritual elements. Anyway, I digress. However, this kind of leads me to another question, because you had new music that you played this evening. How about we talk about your new music? How did it come to be?
Yes.
How new is it? I mean, it's almost creepily relevant. I didn't know that I brought
very
Nostradamus
strange.
into the house this evening, but...
We weren't
You want to
expecting that
start? You want to
either.
start with a new play, because that was a fun one.
Yeah, that was
everything we talked about
A
is
new
kind
play.
of that.
That's super fun, especially right now.
You know, while we're focusing on a new plague, though, there were several of them that Pharaoh neglected. There were more plagues that God rained down on Pharaoh, by the way, just so you know. The end of days is coming. I'm shocked that nobody has gone crazy on social media and said either that or Revelations!
they're out there.
I heard it once.
Also, there is an asteroid headed towards Earth, April 29th of 2020. We are supposed to have an asteroid that comes in contact with our planet.
That's convenient.
Yay! Pay
Excellent.
attention, there's more than just coronavirus that's happening.
I can't think of enough that rhymes with asteroid to write a song about it, so we're in the clear. It's not gonna happen.
Yeah, unless
Don't
you write a
worry.
song about
I
it, it's
promise
not gonna
not to write it.
happen.
Oh man.
Asteroid.
Yeah, so like a new plague though
That's a good one.
was a great song to start writing because we were both like getting really sick. It actually started off of we're not fans of the anti-vaxxer movement, and we were talking about how it's causing like death and potential for a plague and this and that and then we just like started texting each other lyrics,
Yeah.
and it was actually one of
It
the
was
few
a
times
frenzy.
it was like a frenzy. I was like, well, what about this, and like what about this, and like it just like went back and forth, and then we wanted to do something different with the music, and I think I did a lot of like we even arranged that differently and structured it where like the first verse also becomes like the chorus, and it's like makes it super dark and heavy, but the words very much coincide. Can be used for that, or it can be used for this. So you can.
Yeah, it's kind of bizarre that way how that ended up shaking out. Because there was just a bombardment of.
You mean like smallpox and those blankets we gave people?
Yeah, I think it was more about like measles, but okay.
Same thing. How about mumps, rubella, polio?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. All those
Exactly.
things that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's bring it all back. No, let's not bring all
I
that
know,
shit back.
some things shouldn't be retro.
Yeah, exactly.
Debilitating disease being one of them.
That's a key one. But yeah, it was just a complete writing frenzy over the course of maybe 45 minutes.
Wow.
And it was just done. Like, as soon as
Yeah,
we
we
were
were
done with it,
texting.
we
We
were
were
like,
both at work, when we're supposed to be working, and we were texting lyrics.
yeah, so I
and
took a picture of my screen with all the lyrics arranged, and I sent it to you. We're like, well, shit, we have a song.
Yeah.
All right,
Wonderful.
we'll work
Well,
out
now
the
we need
music
some music.
eventually. And
It
that took
usually
longer.
works out a lot like that. Like lyrics come first, and then music comes second,
Ah.
and then
And you just play drums?
Yeah. Like we got a new song. I'm like, oh, cool.
sometimes we bring too many.
Yeah, that's a fact. This past couple of weeks in particular, we've had it's this frenzy of writing over the last couple of months.
So that's not a bad thing.
No, it's a good thing.
Right.
It's just trying to remember what parts go to which song. Like it gets overwhelming when it's like, all right, here's 4 new songs, so we have 16 new parts to learn,
Oh, yes. I can see
and
that.
like we can't do that all at once. We've been doing them like 2 at a time. So we're doing them in groups of 2. So there's gonna be quite a bit more coming soon.
That's the new rule. That's the new rule. Are they coming? I mean, are we going to be able to have band practice? I mean, I don't even know.
I mean, you
Or are we just
this.
going to
Find a way.
record stuff and send it to each other? I guess that's what we're doing.
If we have to do that, we have to do that. I've done that. I've
You know-
telewritten.
And that's
It's a weird
that's the other thing too. Is
thing.
like we got we got a lot of kudos and props out like with a group of people out on the East Coast.
Yeah.
And Rich and I were talking about it, like it seems like they really like us out there. We should just like book a tour. And then this guy, Rick Burke, came in our inbox that night, and yeah, I'm wearing a shirt. It's he's Geared for Productions, and he hit us up and he was like, dude, if you ever want to come out here, let us know. And we like within a couple days we're like, yeah, let's come out let's do it. Like let's book a tour, we'll do 9 days. And then we were like, oh, let's bring the Rhetoric Vendetta, but the Rhetoric Vendetta guys, because we just like those guys. I mean, they're just like super cool guys, and it's like they're a 3-piece, we're a 3-piece, and it's like nice to share the load, whatever with expenses and all that sort of stuff. But and I like their band just in general. Like I always have a really good time, so I was like, let's just do this. Let's do this together. We'll go out, book 9 dates. It's supposed to start May 22nd. But
Is that still happening?
as of right now, it's not canceled.
Cool.
It's still early enough.
But there's a lot of contingencies,
Being
and
very
it's like
helpful.
we all have to like take everything day by day, and you can't like freak out and just be like, "That's it, I'm not doing it." You
Right.
can't be like that. You
Ooh,
gotta.
ooh, 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 pick me, I have a question.
Okay, go ahead.
Because that's
Jess!
Okay, so here's my question. If for some reason there is I don't know, everybody starts dying and they say martial law's been enacted, we all have to stay home sort of thing, that leads into May, will you just record live for 9 days? You should do a new set.
Ooh.
We just started talking about that a tiny bit tonight. We haven't really gotten any details on it yet, but we are considering the live streaming platform. Hello, everyone.
It's
And
like
just
I
trying
had
to-
the
You know, this
feeling.
is
Trying to
actually
figure out how to make that work.
this was like booked like 3 months ago, so this wasn't like this was just on our agenda anyways.
So one thing we didn't have to cancel this month. It's so nice.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yay!
At least there's something. We needed this. You don't have no idea how badly we needed this.
So how many things did you guys have to cancel?
It really hasn't been much. Like, since we know this tour is coming up in late May, we're working on getting as much new material together as possible.
Mm-hmm.
So we've been really focused on writing, so we haven't really booked too many shows.
Yeah, we actually didn't book a lot. Like we played a lot in January,
You
which
did
was
play
Yeah.
in January.
and
Reverend
we played
Cafe.
with the Scraps, and they were
Oh
fantastic.
yeah, that was a good night.
Thank you.
That was fun.
Yeah, so we
Yes, we did.
I think we played shows in February.
Great.
Well, we played like 3 shows. We drove up to Fond du Lac, the guys in the
Oh my
Malones.
Snowstorm.
It was
Oh,
during
yeah,
like
the
a
ice
ice storm. It was
Oh,
horrible.
January 11th.
Yeah,
It
January
was.
17th. You guys, I think. Wait, we played in Fond du Lac the 17th, and I think we played with you guys the 11th. Or the
You guys
24th?
played with
24th.
However, the-
No, 31st.
It doesn't. Oh, okay. There you go. So,
Come on
so
now.
there was a lot of shows in January, and then I'm not sure about February, and then we decided that we were just like we got this tour coming up. We just want to write some stuff, and so we kind of like paused, but we wanted to do your show. So that was like the only thing I think we had booked in March.
Right.
Wonderful.
And then we were supposed to do our album release because we're actually getting our records. We actually did vinyl records. It's a cool thing to do, kiddos. Which they
I
still
love how
haven't.
condescending this
Which
is.
they still
Fire shit. Fuck you.
condescending
sure.
and sarcastic. It's like that's
It's your wheelhouse.
that's my wheelhouse. So
And are you wearing a gear on your shirt too? That's funny.
it is a gear.
You are all way too relevant. It blows my
It's a bit much.
mind.
Yeah, so we were, it's still, I'm pretty sure it's canceled. We were going to do a record release with a couple bands, like, Size 5s was on it. The guy, Paul Kniever, was at Knieverland Studios, who recorded us, was setting up this show, and what's the other band?
When is that?
Greywall?
Yeah.
And Greywall. It was supposed to be April 19th.
Yeah.
And it was supposed to be a Sunday Fun Day, and it was going to be, like, one of the first all-ages shows at Cactus Club, potentially.
Ooh.
So that may or may not happen, or I don't know.
I mean, that's still a month away.
Yeah.
I
A lot
don't.
can
I
happen.
mean, everybody says that, but it's like
I
I like to be very.
Prepare for
I
the
like
worst,
to
be
be very.
optimistic.
I like to be
Right.
very present. So I take everything day by day, and I can't really. My mind is so far removed from that stuff right now. So it's like if I have to do a show that day, like I'll be there
Early.
Well,
No.
I'll be
Yeah,
a 1
totally.
p.m. show is like this shit when you're older.
Yeah. You can go home, have dinner, and still be in your pajamas and
Oh
be
my
in bed
God.
by 9.
Yeah.
Very true.
Oh.
Yeah.
I mean, we do the shows on Sunday nights at Union Park Tavern, and she knows, I know,
That
it's
shit's
late.
late.
I know you have kids. I'm like, you don't even understand, man. Like, I wish shows were, like, done at 5.
Yeah.
You guys want to go have dinner together? We can sip our tea afterwards and then go to bed. Get the fuck out of my house. But, like, no, I don't know. I know, and even then, all ages, that's
Yeah.
appropriate because
So,
the kids have curfews.
And then we were gonna be on the Punk Fest, one of the benefit shows.
yeah, what's going on with
Which
those?
was April 25th.
I haven't heard anything
You know,
yet.
I think
Neither.
everybody. It's
Hey,
it's a wait. It really just has to be, wait and see. Like,
Mm-hmm.
where are we at? Like, what is really going on? And I mean, we talked about this earlier. It's like I think that the systems are slowly shutting down. I think it's all intentional. I think the government really knows what's going on, and they're doing this in stages. And it's just ultimately going to be us, like, contained to our houses.
my
Um,
pessimistic side says that if we really want to flatten this curve, we won't be able to be out and doing anything until
Yeah.
July.
And that's
And
fine.
that
I
sucks,
think people
but-
are so like held onto their lives and their structure and the way things are.
Yes.
And they're not. And they're filled with anxiety and all sorts of stuff. And it's like, I don't have that much anxiety just because I'm just like, kind of like, what am I doing today? What do I got to do tomorrow? It's kind of like, I can plan for things, but it's like, right now I'm like, I just got to be present. I just got to exist. And whatever happens, happens. And I think more people need to think of it that way instead of going in hoarding all the goddamn toilet paper and
That's stupid.
buying a bunch of. I mean,
It's all in.
it's
the
just
same
making it
bag.
worse for everyone. And it's like if we were all like day to day, you know, instead of like just panicking.
This is gonna sound funny, but you know, AA literature says that you only have today, and so you can only focus one day at a time.
Cheers. But it's also Buddhist philosophy. You know, you can't dwell on the past. The future doesn't exist. All you have is the present.
We were talking about that once.
And
Did you play it tonight?
Yes.
yeah.
Coincidentally. Nice segue.
I know. See,
Uh,
look, it's
way
like
to
I
go.
almost know how to do these things.
Yeah.
Before.
My one attempt
No.
to see if musical sarcasm can exist,
Oh yeah.
because I don't know if people will read it as such. So we have a song called "Nostalgic Hills," and it's probably the poppiest thing we do. Like it's a total really really poppy riff. It's got a very My Sharona-esque beat to it. It's very Germsy. Like it's just it's very tongue in cheek. For the
Yeah, it sounds
verses.
super happy.
The chorus is just angry noise. But it's called Nostalgic Hills, which I've later found out there's like 25, 30 songs called that. So I'm not the clever one. However, we put our own words to it, so it's fine.
Yeah, and I also have a knack for
no lawsuits,
for
please.
singing. I have a knack for singing in sarcasm.
That's very true. I've made use of that many times. I've written for that.
Sing this one sarcastically. Oh, so like I normally would.
I don't even say it. But it's very much about how you can't live in the past, and people just get just stuck,
We do.
and they're just frozen in a part of time. And when you're experiencing nostalgia, there's this profound soul crushing sadness that I think falls underneath it, no matter how joyous the memories are. It's just like this weird pull to your memory, and your memories are not accurate. Whether we want them to be or not, they're not fucking accurate. You do not have a clear image of the past.
Nope.
People think we know the past, we don't know the future. No, we don't fucking know either of them.
We know nothing.
No,
We-
all you know is what is happening
much.
right now.
Yeah, that's all we really got.
I mean, this is your existence. This is all that matters.
It's a weird pre-prediction thing, but yeah, it's bizarre.
And if you want to learn more on that, Netflix came out with an amazing documentary called Explained, and they did a 5-piece series talking about the brain. And the first episode is all about that.
Huh.
All about our memories.
Send me the royalty checks, please.
It's super cool.
Netflix, you got deep pockets, hook me up.
It also, though, when we talk about memory and when memory is formed, and they say that it's only, started or formed initially at age 3.
That's weird because that's like my first memory.
I mean, and that's what most people say.
And it's
like,
bizarre. It's a bizarre memory, and it's not the way I remember it wasn't what actually happened, But
right, and that's what they say, that you can see pieces, and your mind will put them into a sequence that makes sense to you, what your memory is.
Yeah, I mean,
Which is why our justice system is fucked, because witnesses can't really be credible because nobody knows jack fucking shit.
You can't remember what happened a minute ago. Not with any level of accuracy. Our brains are really good. Our brains are really good at pattern recognition.
Mm-hmm.
We will put a convenient picture in front of ourselves that will help us to survive. That's what we're wired to do.
Mm-hmm.
This is why optical illusions work. And if you trust your eyes, just look at some of those. You go, oh wait a minute, okay, why am I seeing it this way? Because of context cues.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're wired to see what's convenient, not what's real.
Mm-hmm.
And that happens especially for your own sense of your own personal past and what life you've lived. So the song's kind of about that. Can I
Da 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 da.
hold that back into that?
This
This is the philosophy portion of the
I
show.
like it a lot.
This is where we philosophize. Actually, Rich is going to. I'll just.
No, I'm good.
So while we're
I don't know
philosophizing
anything.
about things, because nothing is known in the future, and you do have new merchandise coming out, how about we talk about that?
Well,
Moving forward,
the vinyl records, which have been kind of perpetually delayed, but what's the ET now? Do we know?
We're looking at another week and a half to 2.5.
Oh yeah.
That's
Okay,
roughly what
so
it's
we're
so by the
looking
end
at-
of the month,
Yeah, we'll have records, and you can buy them on Bandcamp. We also just came out with new logo T-shirts.
ooh,
Our logo's pretty sweet. And then there's some of our older T-shirts, and we got CDs now. We actually got the CDs from radio stations, but I don't even know if we can go there.
Right.
That's a good question. I mean, they all operate on digital.
So I mean, you can get. I would assume, can you get those on Bandcamp?
I can add them, absolutely.
But no
Yeah.
one's there
So
to
like
play
we
it.
got these CDs now that you can buy on
We got a
Bandcamp,
handful.
and we got the records coming, and
Yeah.
you know the idea is that we were writing all of these songs. We were gonna go on tour. We're gonna try to write as much as possible, and then maybe record another record at the end of this year. But who the fuck knows anymore?
Yeah, I think if my idea on that, I mean, depending on where we're all at, obviously economically, we all work full-time jobs. When we have them, that's a whole other ball of wax.
Yeah.
But if the tour ends up getting canceled, that might be the time to start looking at potentially getting stuff down that we know we want to record, and might push that to the forefront.
Yeah.
Of course, we have to work with the people we'll be recording with, and like making sure like we'll work something out one way or another. But I think that would then our focus would just shift at that point.
Where was your tour going to go? Like, where were you going to start?
The first date is still booked. Was actually going to start in the Buzzbin in Canton, Ohio, and we were actually jumping on. We were intersecting with the Murder Junkies.
Oh, cool.
So we were gonna be on the same bill with Murder Junkies, Busby Dutch Chair, Rhetoric Vendetta, like whatever. And I think from Ohio we were going to West Virginia, and then from West Virginia it was supposed to go to Philly, and then from Philly we were going to New York, and then from New York we were going to Virginia, and then we had I think 2 dates in North Carolina,
Yeah, okay.
a date in South Carolina.
Can I
This
ask
would be like-
why you're doing a loop-de-loo? Like, what the
It's
hell
not
is
actually,
that?
if you think, they're actually, all of these places are like 4 to 5 hours away from each other. It's actually not that difficult.
Okay, because I see this. Here's Wisconsin, all right?
It's also availability of venues.
Okay,
it's also,
I know. But like, here, like, you see it, right? Like, we go down here, we go over to Ohio, we go up to, you said West Virginia, up to Pennsylvania, back down here, over here. Woo.
It's down, over, and then up, and then be
Are you
backtrack
drawing
around
on
and go
music
down.
staff? No.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't book it. I mean, Rick Burke has all the connections, and he was the one that was, putting this all together. And it's just, I mean, ideally, it's like we don't really care the order as long as
you're there.
as long as they're not like 10 hours away from each other and we're killing ourselves to get somewhere. So, that's kind of how that came about. So,
That's
I
one
mean,
of the first things I did when I got the full list of the dates and cities. Was immediately went and,
Like,
check,
how far
check
away
the
are they
drive
from
times
each
for
other?
all of them. And the longest drive we have at this point is the first one to Ohio.
Yes, yep.
And get home.
And that's it. And then getting back, because we're not sure there's one.
yeah, there
date
was
that's
one
still
date
to-
at the very end that we were like trying to either put like a Nashville date or like maybe Asheville, North Carolina, or like a Kentucky date or something that kind of like bridges the gap on our way
something on the way
home.
home.
But that kind of fell off the radar because, well,
Yeah, no one's really actively
I don't
booking
think
anything
no
right
one's,
now.
yeah.
As far as I know, yes, indeed.
We're doing this. I feel like we have a responsibility to the underground, and so we're healthy and well. Our children are healthy and well, and we will continue to have people here. Again, I'm using the same protocol that my work feels is safe enough to ask humans that I have to interact with if an emergent situation arises. Anyway, plus we keep our house relatively clean. At this point, we've been doing this for 3 years and we've never come across anything.
Yeah.
And I am not naive. I am aware. There is almost a fear, but our daughter keeps walking around going, "You can't live in fear." So that is sage advice from the 10-year-old, and I do think that is an important thing.
She's also writing the lyrics for our next album.
Yeah, clearly.
But I do think that's an important thing. So back when George W. was president and we had whatever the fuck the terrorism thing was, sorry, we'll save our conspiracy theory.
The terrorists.
But there was this national fear that was spread, and he went live through the nation and said, "Be afraid, but go shopping."
Yep.
Trump didn't even have to fucking say that, and all of us are, as sheep, swarming to the places where you could easily contract this anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And
That's the most amazing thing. It's like,
we're afraid of everything. Go
like-
shopping.
yeah, let's
What?
all go into a confined space and breathe all over each other. Just
Make sure
because
to
we
do
really need
this
toilet
and then
paper. That
grab
doesn't
the
make any
toilet
sense.
paper. Just saying. So
It's all
we'll
about
continue to
TV,
do this,
baby.
and here's my thought too. If for some reason we are forced to not do this in some capacity, first, I don't like being told no, and second, if all of a sudden everybody's dying of this, and there are musicians left that still need help, we've in the past always done a phone interview, and you send us your music and we play it. So we are always well equipped to be able to continue to promote your music, your merchandise. I would say now more than ever, use us as a platform. Post all of your stuff.
Yep.
If you do our live streams now have become a very popular thing, I don't care. Post that on our page. Post your artists that you work with who do your flyers and do your merchandise, and your sound guys who do your recording. Post all of that shit on the page, because that's community, and that will help continue to bridge the gap for when these things do release and we're able to go about our normal daily lives. We don't want to see such a gap in service that all of a sudden we're all scrambling to figure shit out. So continue to create, continue to utilize our pages.
We're just gonna do all day shows when this is over. Like, we're gonna just every day just like book a Saturday at a venue and have like 12
playing catch-up.
bands, and then book a Sunday at a different venue
Mini
and have like
fests every
12
weekend.
bands. Like, every weekend should be a mini fest. That's
9
like
o'clock in the morning.
Solid.
Start with Irish coffee.
10 o'clock, so I can actually
And
have
with
a
a
couple
beer.
hours
Do you
before
still
we
need
see it.
bands for any dates, or
We have 4 dates left.
what dates do you have?
We have April, I'm doing this off the top of my head, we have April 3rd, and I think that following week, the 16th, and then we have 2 in June. We have the 18th and 25th, I know for sure, in June.
There you go.
And I know
Right.
there's 2 in April, which is the start of the month.
All right,
So, but the rest
All right,
of it's
bands.
Take note,
booked.
everybody.
take note. Like,
Just
if you want to
so-
come out here, I see you, Scott. You should come out here.
So, yes, feel free to do that. I'm excited to see your album, your vinyl. It's so cool.
Yeah, it's exciting.
So will
I'll
you
have
be
so many
offering
toys.
packages then? Like, here's a vinyl with a t-shirt and whatever.
Are people going to be able to buy anything?
Yeah, right.
If you don't ship it in cardboard,
No, I mean financially.
show up at your
Right,
house
I don't
and
know.
trade you toilet paper. for
the
vinyl.
rich will.
I'll
The,
mark that down.
the idea,
Yeah, right.
the idea is, selling things individually or selling them potentially in packages. I guess we haven't really discussed it because we want it in hand. We're like, where
Yeah.
is it? Like, I want to physically have it to be,
Yep. But yeah, there's been the whole industry is plagued with delays right now. There's that big fire in California. That's not doing them any favors. And it's the place that's actually doing the pressing. It's a relatively small place. It's just north of Miami. It's where all of Island Records' old stuff was pressed. So like all the reggae albums from the 70s days were all pressed by the same dude. He still works there. I hope he's okay. I hope you're okay. Like, I want you to be the man pressing my vinyl, because that just makes me so happy inside. But they've been having a lot of delays for several months now, and the owner actually reached out to me and let me know, like, here's where we're at with things. We're attempting to get our backlog caught up. You're in the queue. You're right there. It's gonna be a couple weeks yet. We're really sorry for all these delays.
I really hope
You
they don't
know,
message you
they're-
and say, hey, by the way, now we're dead.
That would be. I do have a Ouija board, so they couldn't get that message through to me if they died.
I mean, I'm just saying.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah,
that would be
exactly.
the worst message to receive.
Yeah,
We're going to
it's,
hope for the best. But in the interim, while we wait, and
Right.
we're patient, and we can foresee things we will overcome, right? Where can people find you now?
Everywhere.
we're on all the digital platforms.
We're
Yeah.
like coronavirus.
Exactly.
Everywhere.
We're spreading,
and
folks.
we're on the free ones, the Bandcamp and
We started on
the
one section.
Bandcamp.
The
The
Bandcamp.
Bandcamp. We're on
Bandcamp.
We're on Bandcamp, and then we're on SoundCloud and Spotify.
The
And,
SoundClouds have us. The Spotify's have us.
Pandora.
and Apple and Pandora and
You're on
Google Play.
Pandora?
Yes.
We're streamed with the Apples, the Googles of the world. Yeah, all these
We're
things.
everywhere.
Yeah, we're pretty much on all the
We
major
don't have the
platforms.
appropriate sweaters for this conversation currently.
No, exactly. Should have worn my cardigan. I knew I should have.
So,
But yeah, Pandora. Pandora's a tricky one for all you local people
Yes,
who
it
have
is a
gotten your
tricky
album
one.
out there. With all these like package deals where they kind of release to all the different platforms,
They
you
don't
need to go to
release-
Pandora, send them an email verifying that you are a real band, and they will get back to you quick. It doesn't take them a long time. Well, who knows right now? Typically, in the past. They've gotten back to people pretty quick.
Historically.
And then you'll be up on their platform. If you just let it go, you never will be. You'll just be waiting forever.
So
it's kind of a pain in the ass.
Yeah, and Rhetoric Vendetta is now on Pandora as well because they
listen.
we didn't actually tell them, but I think they somehow figured
Yeah, it was
the
actually
whole thing
like
out simultaneously, and we're like,
very strange.
because they were telling us how like we've sent our stuff to Pandora like a year ago and we're still not on it, and then
Yeah.
and I don't know what the
There's a
actual
certain
story is,
criteria that you have to meet in order for you to be viable enough to be on Pandora. You have to have a few I think you have to have Facebook and Instagram. You have to be on Bandcamp and SoundCloud. You have to have a certain number of likes on those different platforms that show that you are viable, because what it does, what Pandora does is the same thing that we talk about with algorithms. Break the algorithm.
Oh, so my social media whoring has panned out.
It helps.
Right.
It Pandora'd out. Yes. So that's what it does. It looks for bands that are relevant, that have a following, because then it shows it's significant enough to code it into the internet. So when somebody searches it, it can pop up, because that's what Google is doing. So stop writing in your address search coronavirus. They're gonna come chip you, and then we'll never see you again.
Yeah. See, that was one song I really wanted to write specifically tonight, but I did not have time to do it, unfortunately. Because I thought it would have been it would have made me smile on the inside to do a song called Fuck Your Algorithm. And have it on this platform, that would just be beautiful. So yeah, fuck your algorithm.
So next time, right?
Admin, fucking, yeah, next time.
Yeah, next time.
That'll be very good.
We get censored too, There's been times that they've muted our feed for the things that I've said.
Oh,
Not
you're
music
doomed.
I've
Now that I've
played.
said that out loud, just...
So, I
You're
don't
welcome.
know. We're not gonna stop, because we're not the FCC. So with that being said, check them out. Murder Generation. They're on, I know, Facebook, Instagram, Bandcamp, SoundCloud, all of the other social media streamings, as well as Pandora, which is super cool. You have a website, right?
Yep, www.murdergeneration.com.
Rich is super smart and does like super.
If you
great
just
things.
Google it, you'll find it. Plus, make sure that you watch and pay attention. Help support musicians, because they put a lot of their own sweat, blood, tears, and money back into the economy by making these albums. So you can also help stimulate the economy by buying local and supporting art. So we will be on next week with Man Random, another Milwaukee band. And then we'll see what happens after that. So, stick around. We'll have music for you. If anything, we're always available, since we're stuck in our house, to play music that people send us. So continue to use our platform for that as well. Thank you guys for joining us, and we'll catch you next week. Okay, thanks, bye.
Good luck, everybody.